My name is Keegan Reynolds, and I am a Republican Precinct Committeeperson living in Sycamore, Illinois. I am 24 years old, and I am announcing that it is my intention to initiate a candidacy as a Republican for office of the Governor of the State of Illinois for the 2026 election. Governor JB Pritzker, there will not be a third term for governor. I am committed to upholding the rule of law, the Constitution of the United States of America, the Illinois Constitution, and I am a supporter of an amendment to the state constitution to require a term limit of 2 terms for the office of governor and all state and local elected and appointed positions. It would be favorable to discontinue the practice of political gerrymandering in the state of Illinois and to balance the political affiliations of the Republican and Democratic parties within the General Assembly of the state of Illinois. It is not only the federal government that is leaning towards authoritarianism. Here in Illinois, we the people are positioned between 2 polarizing political forces, yet I am here standing in front of the giant soybean to tell you that our farmers help feed Chicago, and Chicago helps keep our farmers employed. HB 2827 provides the people of Illinois with a choice of false equivalence, seeking to criminalize the people of Illinois under the guise of prosperity and education for all. While I agree that non-public schools shall adhere to background checks for, quote, all employees of persons or firms holding contracts with the school, close quote, as outlined on page 29 of HB 2827, I truly believe that HB 2827 is completely unlawful and unconstitutional. Furthermore, regulation of non-public schools is not germane with regulation of homeschooling and would be better placed within a separate bill. Section 25, paragraph A of HB 2827 states, quote, if the homeschool administrator for the child enrolled in the homeschool program has not submitted to the principal of the applicable public school or to the applicable school district a homeschool declaration form pursuant to Section 20, the child shall be considered truant under Section 26-1 of the school code, and the homeschool administrator for the child shall be subject to the penalties set forth in Sections 26-10 and 26-11 of the school code. Section 26-10 of the School Code of Illinois states, quote, upon conviction thereof shall be guilty of a Class C misdemeanor and shall be subject to not more than 30 days imprisonment and or a fine of up to $500, close quote. Section 26-3A of HB 2827 states, the clerk or secretary of the school board of all school districts shall furnish quarterly to the regional superintendent a list of pupils, excluding transferees, who have been expelled or withdrawn or who have left school and have been removed from the regular attendance rolls, including the names of pupils whose withdrawal is due to extraordinary circumstances, included but not limited to economic or medical necessity or family hardship, as determined by the criteria established by the school district. Pupils who have re-enrolled, any pupils certified to be a chronic or habitual truant, and pupils previously certified as chronic or habitual truants who have resumed regular school attendance. The superintendent shall inform the county or district truant officer who shall investigate to see that such pupils are in compliance with the requirements of this article, close quote. Section 26-7 of HB 2827 states, quote, if any person fails to send any child under his custody or control to some lawful school, the truant officer or the regional superintendent of schools shall notify the teacher or superintendent of the proper public school thereof, and the teacher or superintendent shall notify the truant officer or regional superintendent of schools of any noncompliance herewith. There are over 853 public school districts in the state of Illinois, and the parents of Illinois should not have to choose from 853 different public school districts to raise their families with 853 different subjective criteria for how the regional superintendent or truancy officer will find probable cause for their prosecution based on enrollment or failure to submit a form alone. How is HB 2827 helping Illinois stand up against Trump? This piece of legislation will only further divide the people and offers no substantive solutions to real-world problems. I am a proponent for public schools, Yet I am considering homeschooling my children, if I have children one day, just in spite of HB 2827 being proposed. Parents in the state of Illinois have a right to choose whether or not to send their kids to public schools, non-public schools, or to homeschool their children. Parents in the state of Illinois also have a right to move freely within the jurisdictions of the state of Illinois and to any other state if they would like to do so. Parents formerly living in Illinois should not have to fear criminal prosecution by the Illinois State Police simply for failing to request permission from the regional superintendent of schools prior to moving jurisdictions within or to jurisdictions outside of the state of Illinois. What may follow is the regional superintendent of schools choosing to disobey the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America through implementing unlawful and unconstitutional document checkpoints at jurisdictional boundaries of the various school districts and along the borders of all other states near Illinois. HB 2827 is un-American. HB 2827 is unacceptable. HB 2827 is unlawful and unconstitutional. HB 2827 should be rescinded from consideration in the Illinois General Assembly immediately. We, the people of Illinois, must stand together, not against each other. We must fight the climate crisis and build more housing. We must build more shelters for the poor. We must work with the federal government to streamline immigration in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois must continue to be a key player in agriculture, and we must invest in heavy industry to begin decarbonizing the economy. We must begin incentivizing gasification of municipal solid waste and implementing a robust recycling program aimed at producing and exporting to other states and nations net neutral and net negative commodities, including, yet not limited to, ammonia, fertilizer, green hydrogen, steel, aluminum, iron, copper, liquid fuels, chemicals, road aggregates, cement, concrete, and pharmaceuticals. The state of Illinois must fight for the duly appropriated federal funding that has been passed into law by the United States Congress. The state of Illinois must work on a long-term plan to alleviate reliance on the federal funding that we receive so that no future president of the United States of America may harm the people of the state of Illinois in the manner in which the current president of the United States of America is now doing so through the willful withholding of duly appropriated funds. We must provide school districts and local governments with the adequate funding for the removal of all lead pipes and the replacement of aging water infrastructure. We must build offshore wind power along Lake Michigan and geothermal plants across the state to provide clean electricity while also contributing to the United States nuclear electricity market. We must build both liquid fuel engine vehicles and electric vehicles in the state of Illinois. Consumers have a right to make a choice. However, we must replace every single one of the diesel engine school buses in every school district of Illinois with electric buses to protect from diesel fumes the families that elect for their children to enroll in public school. We must strive to replace vehicles utilizing diesel engines and public transportation systems within the state of Illinois with electric vehicles. We must continue to support firefighters and the allocation of funds for new fire stations, equipment, training, and new apparatus. We must continue to provide the resources required for our students to excel in education and succeed in the future careers within the Chicagoland area and throughout all of Illinois. The government of Illinois must continue to provide the world-renowned higher education institutions of Illinois with the resources required from the state of Illinois and the United States of America to help private sector companies hire the workforce necessary to help make advancements in chip design and manufacturing, battery storage and manufacturing, quantum computing, laser technology, drone technology, 3D printing, design of military equipment and manufacturing, shipbuilding, cybersecurity, biotechnology, fusion power production, particle physics and accelerator technology, design of space components and manufacturing, data center solutions, machine learning, computer vision, artificial general intelligence. Illinois must stand up for babies and realign the abortion policies of the state of Illinois with Roe v. Wade upheld by Casey. Due to the inflationary pressures that the taxpayers of Illinois have experienced within the last 5 years since the COVID pandemic shuttered the economy, The government of the state of Illinois must provide a new one-time stimulus check of $1,500 for every taxpayer and $3,000 for every household from the rainy day fund created by Governor JB Pritzker. We must enhance and expand the resources available to local law enforcement to monitor and respond to crime and threat monitoring systems within our public highways and public transportation systems. The state of Illinois must allocate more funding for public safety in the budget of Illinois than funding allocated for recreation. This is non-negotiable. We must rescind parts of the Safety Act. Ending cash bail has tremendous upsides. However, no person should be free from jail pending trial after killing a police officer. Illinois must push for an end to the death penalty in the United States of America. Illinois can certainly be a leader in accomplishing that goal together with the rest of the United States of America. We must balance the budget and end the scourge of opioid addiction in the state of Illinois. According to the Illinois Department of Human Services, over 200,000 of our fellow Illinoisans suffer from opioid use disorder. Over 15,000 of our fellow Illinoisans overdose per year, and over 2,500 of our fellow Illinoisans are fatalities of the illicit opioid pandemic per year. Not marijuana, not alcohol, opioids. No person living in Illinois should receive government benefits if they are addicted and have illicit opioid narcotics in their system. Illicit opioid narcotics present a clear and present danger to the security of the state of Illinois. No police officer, teacher, paramedic, firefighter, bus driver, train conductor, doctor, or nurse should have to go to work and worry about interacting with illicit opioid narcotics. No police officer, paramedic, firefighter, doctor, or nurse should go to work protecting the public from illicit opioid narcotics, while the state continues to fail to adequately address the growing insolvency of their retirement pensions. As governor, I will work to ensure any person who receives benefits from the state of Illinois because of being parents shall and will submit to recurring drug testing for illicit opioid narcotics. Benefits will only be dispersed upon submission to a local health department a negative illicit opioid drug test. We will apply this standard across the board for any person receiving any disbursements from the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois will no longer subsidize the illicit opioid drug market. The state of Illinois will uphold the rule of law, the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and the Constitution of the United States of America. The era of oligarchy in the state of Illinois is over. No more budget gimmicks and no more billionaire grifting.